Information, inspiration, motivation. You are now listening to the Going North podcast, where you're going to get all three of those things and more. I'm your host, author, speaker, and book enthusiast, Dom Brightman. And every week, we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show.
And today on the Going North podcast, we're back at you again with another author, but not just any author. This wonderful author right here is a powerhouse, y'all, because writing books is not all he does. He also writes wonderful blogs that can be found on Inc. magazine. You can also find it on entrepreneur.com. He's also a high-performance health and sleep consultant, a corporate wellness consultant. And he is just doing all sorts of wonderful things that not only will keep you in shape, but keep you well as well. And you're probably wondering who this wonderful guest right here is on the Going North podcast. It's the one, the only Julian Hayes II. How are you today, sir?
Man, I am happy to be here. I'm doing fantastic, and thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Yeah, man. I was like, dude, this dude is freaking awesome. Like, get this video pitch and whatnot to be on the podcast. I'm like, all right, this guy is going to be on the podcast, and you can't have the month of January without a Julian in your life. So you didn't get to where you currently are without some kind of paths of mind informing the folks that have been living under a bunch of rocks who you are and how you got to where you currently are.
Yeah, so probably my big moment came when I was in New York City, and I was in medical school, and I completed that year, did pretty well, and I came home that summer, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I had an epiphany that has been slowly simmering for a while now, that this wasn't the right path for me. And at that moment, I made the decision to not go back to school, but instead become a writer and eventually write a book and multiple books and to start my own business and to coach. And this came out of left field. So I was really excited about this. I woke up the next morning eager to tell everyone that I could. And everyone was like, man, are you crazy? Did you get drugged into it? Are you? What's going on? So I didn't get there was not one single, oh, man, I'm excited, man, let's do this. I can't wait to see what's going on. Like, all I got was a bunch of nervous people, slight pessimism, and people that wanted me to go take a drug test or something. So that was a big moment that kind of led to the start of all of this. And then, throughout the course of time with that, I had to really just trust what's inside of me and really do it for myself. Because ultimately, I'm the one that has to live for myself. I'm the one that's in this body right now.
I was glad you actually caught that at a young age as opposed to 40 or like 60 or something like that, when it's going to be a much more uphill battle than what it would be now, if not a couple of years ago or so.
And that was actually some of the thought process, that I did not want to be the 60-year-old guy who's talking to 15-year-olds and telling them, when I wish I was younger, I wish I would have done this. And, regret is such a terrible feeling to have, and I didn't want that feeling.
That's right, indeed. Yeah, because I was listening to one of your past interviews, and you mentioned the story. I think you were like 19 or somewhere in your teens, and there was this 50-year-old guy who was like dusting everybody in your class, and you were the only one keeping up with them, and that just inspired you to stay healthy and just ask them, what the heck do you do to be at 50 that does the rest of us?
Yeah, I had up until that point. So I'm in the health field now. I love it, but I was anything but a healthy model of anything growing up, and so. To me, when you got older, that just means that you're just going to get aches and pains and you're just going to get sick. But this guy was defining it all. I mean, man, he was running up and down the court good with us, and just a simple sentence of telling me that that our age is nothing but just an indicator of how long that we've been alive. That's it. What really matters is kind of what you put into your body, how you treat yourself on a daily basis, and how you talk to yourself. And something as simple as that. Started to make a big paradigm shift in my whole entire life.
That's right. Something we all need in life, a good old paradigm shift. And it's always good that you have someone who's actually willing to share their knowledge and give you, I wouldn't say that beat down, but just give you that, defeat.
Yeah, so sometimes the beat down's good. So you can be beat down, and so you can become stronger from it.
That's right, indeed. And you've been in business for about 5 years now, right?
Yeah, so something around there. Yeah, time flies by.
Oh, you can say that again. So in your 5 years, especially with the personal training, what and just the sleep and wellness coaching, the sleep part of everything, what inspired that piece of it?
This is kind of a weird answer for boredom. Sleep. Yeah. So sleep, out of all the aspects of health, sleep is the least understood. And so you're literally finding out things about sleep and everything that it does at a rapid pace each and every day. And that just fascinated me. And once I've learned about how much it controls and how it plays a role in every aspect of our lives, that just really interests me more than just exercising. I still cover that a lot, but sleep is just fascinating to me.
Yeah, man, it's good that you're actually doing that, because sleep, it's something we all know we should do, but we don't always follow our own advice or know what to do, because, I mean, there'd be some nights it's like, I can lose an extra 2 hours of sleep and doing all night to get this darn studying done, cram for this exam, or finish this project for work or something like that, and then you're dragging for the next whole day, and if you do that at the beginning of the week, then your whole week is screwed.
Yes, yeah. You can easily fall behind the 8 ball with your sleep.
Yeah, it's true, and I'm not sure what statistic it was. I think it was an extra hour of sleep could possibly increase your income by 5%, I believe.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that article. I think it was 5 to 10%, I believe, of just an extra hour of sleep.
Yeah, man, it's just amazing how that happens, because I think it was back in 2008 they did this random, well, I wouldn't say random, but it was a sleep study, and they said that $50 billion was lost in the United States alone back in 2008 because folks weren't getting enough sleep. And it kind of makes sense in a way when you realize, like, hey, wait a second, it makes sense when you don't get enough sleep because you're dragging, you're not as creative, and if you're not creative and making new ideas, then the competition, who might be more well-rested and high performers, they might be making more ideas and getting the advantage on you. And they may be like in the top 10 or 5% as opposed to the rest of the world who's part of the $1 billion loss of productivity just because they forgot to get that extra hour, or at least just the necessary amount of hours, at least 6+ hours of sleep.
Yeah, it's that can be your greatest. Optimizing your wellness and your energy that can be your greatest competitive advantage. That can lead to having an unfair advantage, is what I like to say.
That's right, the unfair advantage, baby. So any advice for the young folks out there who may be starting a business or in business?
So the first thing is to ask for help. I delayed my progress probably by 2 years because I had so much pride and I thought I knew so much and I didn't want to look weak that I didn't ask for help for like 2 years. And so please ask for help. Ask for help. Ask. There's actually a good book called The Aladdin Factor by Jack Canfield. And that's all about asking in various areas of life. And that book was a game changer for me when it comes to asking. So that's my first piece of advice, is to ask for help. People love to help. Another one is to have structure throughout your day. I was a guy who thought that when you added structure and operated off of a calendar, that's weird and it makes you rigid and everything. But really, what that does, that actually gives you more freedom. And it actually saves a lot of mental energy, and it helps you become consistent in your work. And number 3 is when you're first getting started, especially when you're writing books and just writing in general or any kind of work like that, is to just keep your head down at the beginning and just build, create, and don't necessarily worry about the reception that you're getting or any of that at the very beginning, because doing the habit is just more important at that time than necessarily any accolades or any small tweaks that you might think you need to do. So just get it out there.
That's right. Get it out, baby. Get it out there. I like the movie Get Out, but get it out there, baby. That's right. But yeah, man, that's solid advice, especially the asking for help piece. I personally am still working on that with myself, because sometimes it's like, ask for help in certain areas, and sometimes people may forget. They may jack up certain things, and among other things. So it's like, oh, man. But, yeah, that's really a good point, and something that folks probably would need to overcome, because it could be a thing of pride or a possibility of just, sometimes if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. But you are right, though. It's like folks do like to help, especially if you're like one of those young, bright, bushy-tailed folks. They just want to help you out because, like, hey, they're young, let's help them out. Though, at least strangers anyway. Sometimes family may not always be gung-ho about it. They might not even know what the heck you're doing. So, real solid advice right there.
Yeah, family, depending on what you're doing, family might not be the best, actually, at times. You might just have to give them a little bit of story. Don't let them in on the whole game plan when you're at the very beginning of the stage, because it might be overwhelming, because it might be hard for them to see that kind of world, because they probably never had that kind of exposure or even seen anyone do something what you're trying to do. So definitely find your community who kind of sees the world through the same lens as you do.
That's right. Hey, I guess it kind of goes with the whole networking thing. Just build that community of folks who are aligned with your goals and dreams and desires in life.
Yeah, it's amazing how that kind of piece of advice has stood around since the test of time. Just like the people you surround yourself with is so important.
Yeah, man. And speaking of test of time, hear your love history.
So I love history, and the reason why I love history is because it's a great teacher, and it's a great reminder. And a lot of times, people back in history, I have adopted what I call extreme mentors, and even I adopted them as relatives to some extent. And what I mean by this is, like, there's a book, for example, Man's Search for Meaning, and what Viktor Frankl had to endure during that. And it's just tremendous. And then, that teaches you about the power of your mind and perspective and how you can choose to control that. And so I take that power and I apply it to my everyday life. And a lot of times there are issues that come up, and it's easy to overreact to those things. But I think about those extreme mentors like Viktor Frankl, like Frederick Douglass, and even like artists like Duke Ellington or Tony Bennett or Miles Davis. I think about these people and Quincy Jones and the hardships that they had. And then I look at my problems, and, sometimes it's like technology. Those guys didn't even have running water at times, and they were sleeping on floors. And I'm complaining about technology, or I'm complaining about a funnel, or I'm complaining about having to edit a certain amount of words or something. And so it just really puts things in perspective to show that, what I'm going through is not that bad compared to the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, very true indeed. Very true indeed. Funny enough, it kind of reminded me of this one Grant Cardone motivational video where he is wearing a caveman suit. These folks talking about, man, y'all folks are worried about nothing. Going to a grocery store, man. They're freaking 500 years ago, you would have been worried about, oh, man, the bear almost ate my ass. Busy hunting for food. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But it's like perspectives.
That's a powerful thing to really keep in mind. Like that's a really powerful key habit that if you can consistently utilize that skill on a daily basis, you're going to be able to move at such a faster pace and dramatically increase the rate of your progress.
That's right, man. And I love the fact that you call them extreme mentors as well. So what led to calling them extreme mentors? Is it because it's a diverse set of mentors you have?
I kind of like just to give names to things. And also, a lot of times, the guys that I call extreme, they had really tough hardships. So it wasn't just like, oh, this was tough to get started, but it was like, no, they dealt with some really tough things in life. And so that's kind of where I gave the name extreme mentors. And plus, I kind of like the way it sounds.
Yeah, man. Because like you hear mentorship and it's like, yeah, good. But extreme mentors, like, oh, shoot, what is this, man? Is this like the Drill Sergeant on like enough level? Is this like freaking Hell Week on steroids or something?
Well, and also I need to remind myself, because I will admit, being a millennial, that, we're, as a whole, millennials are kind of soft compared to previous generations. I kind of need to toughen myself up. And so that's kind of why I use the word extreme and try to seek out really extreme cases of hardship and just to remind myself that what I'm trying to do is definitely possible, and I need to stay persistent, because if these guys could do it under their circumstances with their resources that they didn't have, and I have some of these resources now, then I can do it as long as I stay persistent and keep doing it every day and showing up.
Heck yeah, man. That's a great perspective indeed, especially as a fellow millennial, man. It's like we got basically the whole world by the balls, man. It's like, man, we got to do this thing, because there's like no excuse out there for each and every millennial to try to at least get a piece of the world and have it as their own oyster and at least have some form of success out there, because there's like so many folks out there going through difficult times, and you just find something to do, and the internet's kind of like the ultimate equalizer, because like you mentioned before, it's like the folks who came before us, they went through times that were way worse than ours, like no running water, freaking slavery, being lynched, and the racism still exists, but that's a whole another podcast. But just going through all those different things, it's like, yeah, man, we gotta just use their examples for the greater good. And speaking of greater good, I hear you love Black Panther and you have goals to be a real life superhero, dude.
Yeah, that's I love superheroes in comics. Kind of, they made, Black Panther and then people like Spider-Man, they made science really cool. And I remember that growing up, like, I was like, oh man, these guys are pretty smart, and they were still a superhero. And so, that made me, when I was studying back in college and throughout, that made it feel okay that, I was foregoing a lot of the crazy partying or the typical stuff that people do in college, and I had my head in a book or I was at the gym, and I was just, that made it cool and comforting that I could, I'm like a superhero. And I think the thing about superheroes is that I think we admire them because of the courage they have, the abilities that they have, and I think that we can do that in real life to a certain extent.
Yeah, man. That's right, man. That's right. We can do it, baby. We have the technology. We can all become cyborgs.
I think in the future that, I definitely don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But that's probably
right.
Another podcast.
Bionic arms everywhere.
Yeah. I have all sorts of strange theories on how long we can live and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah. What if there's a podcast out there called Weed Thoughts where it's like both the host and the guest smoke a blunt and then you just start talking about conspiracies and whatnot.
I'm sure he has a lot of listeners.
Oh man. Woo. Alrighty. Well, you mentioned a couple books earlier, like Man's Search for Meaning and The Aladdin Factor. Any other books that you're currently reading that have been good recently that you probably would recommend others to read in addition to yours?
Oh, man, so many. I think one of the books is The 50th Law by 50 Cent and Robert Greene.
Nice.
That's a good one. And when you're just getting started, I think another Robert Greene book, there's a theme going on here, Mastery. Mastery is very good. And then there's this book called Getting Naked by Patrick Lencioni. It's about basically providing very good client service. So for those of the listeners out there who are consultants or coaches or do any type of service work, this book is a jewel that is definitely needed to be read. I love it. And then let's see. How many? Let's see. That's 3. Maybe we'll do 5. Let's see. Quincy Jones' biography is good. I really enjoyed that. And then probably a business book early on that teaches you kind of just a big picture is the book by Felix Dennis called How to Get Rich. I really enjoyed that book. It's very practical, and he's the guy who started Maxim.
That's a good list right there. That How to Get Rich book, I still need to get around to that one. That's buried in my to-be-read list, which keeps growing every day. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it happens. It happens everywhere. So I'm looking around like my room right now, and there's like books everywhere, and then there's books in my other room, and then I think there's a book in the kitchen. So there's just books everywhere, and you can never catch up with your to-be-read list because it's the one. This is a random rant or a random blurb. The one-click button on Amazon is lethal because every time you get on there, you see a book, you're like, oh, this sounds good, or somebody makes a recommendation, and it's just one click, and there you go. You have the book. It's amazing. That goes back, to what we've been discussing for a lot of this podcast is that, we have all the resources at our fingertips. We have all the knowledge. You can learn from anyone. You can learn 30, 40 years of experience that they had, and you can just read it in 300 pages. And if you get one thing out of that, I consider the book a success.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed. Well, you got this wonderful book called Body Architect. Is there going to be any other books coming out any time soon? Or just going to continue with your wonderful articles for the moment?
Yeah, I'll be writing a book. I'll be writing multiple books. When? I don't know. I'm debating if the next book I want it to be health and fitness related, or if I just want to write a book of essays. I don't know. I kind of just let where the creativity goes and just let it take me from there. But I have a couple ideas that I'm working on. I just need to go away somewhere and think it through a little more. But yeah, it's definitely not going to be the only one.
Awesome indeed, awesome indeed. And for those who need to pick up your wonderful book, if there's just one good tip from that book that would make people want to just go to that Amazon button, hit the one-click buy now button, what would that be? If you want to give more than one, that's cool.
One tip. Well, if you're looking, it's pretty simple. So this book was designed, this book is the very beginning. So think of a movie, and you have the first movie. It's to get you started. It's to, Star Wars, A New Hope, the first Spider-Man. It's an origin story. So this is like a fitness and wellness origin story. It's how to get started and how to sustain that and how to keep it going and get you moving in all aspects of fitness. So your sleep, your nutrition, your exercising, your stress. And it's all laid out in practical and simple steps with some random stories.
Woohoo! Beautiful indeed, beautiful indeed. All right, man, coming down the pike here, since you're a fellow millennial, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you get to keep all of your knowledge of what the heck happened over these past few years and you were 18 again in the current year of 2019, what advice would you give to yourself?
Man, that's a good one. If I was in college, am I in college?
You can be wherever you want, man. You can be on the toilet if you want.
Okay. All right, let's see. So in either case, if I'm on the toilet or in college, let's do... I'm going to seek out some kind of apprenticeship. I'm going to seek out someone that I can learn from. I even back in college now, even in today's times, there's a lot of great information out there. But once you get out in the real world, and this happened to me, the application is severely lacking. So I would definitely seek out someone. If I had any inclination or I was curious about trying something, I would seek out to try to do some kind of apprenticeship and find someone that I could work under or learn from.
Oh, yeah, that Ben Franklin swag right there. Apprenticeship, baby.
That's a good book also. Good old Ben.
That's right, Big Ben, baby. Not for the Steelers, but the Big Ben, baby. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Ben, speaking of good old Ben Franklin, he has really two good questions that, we should ask ourselves. It's what good shall I do today, and what good have I done? And I love those two questions. I think he did that in his journal. What good shall I do today when you wake up, and what good have I done today at the end of the night? It's kind of just a simple way to plan your day and to reflect upon your day.
That's right, man. Love those questions. Those are questions like that I ask myself every now and then, because I used to do that every day a few years ago when I first read his book, and it's really true, and it's really simple too. It's like, all right, focusing what good you can do for the day, and then the reflections, like, what good have you done? And it's like, oh man, did I really do something good? All right, didn't flip off the person on the road. All right, that's good. And other stuff like that.
Because, I like those things because I truly believe in some type of karma, and I truly believe in I think of it like a mirror, like life's a mirror. So if you are flicking off drivers or if you are judging people, then you're probably going to receive those kind of things as well. Or you're going to be fearful of being judged because you judge people. So I tend to think that life's kind of like that mirror, and having those sort of reflection questions keeps you in alignment with kind of how to live a life.
That's right. And that's the art of fitness and life, right?
theartoffitnessandlife.com is the home base, and there'll be a bunch of resources over there.
That's right, baby. That's right. if you want to find out how to develop yourself as a Wakandan warrior, then that's the place to go, baby. That's right.
He's not joking.
Yeah, man. But don't ask for any vibranium. I tried asking him before I pressed the record button. It was G14 classified.
Yeah, I can't do that. Sorry, no vibranium. I can't do it. You got to be responsible.
Yeah. I tried to bribe him with snickerdoodle cookies. That was mistake number one.
Yeah. Maybe oatmeal or macadamia nut. Maybe.
Yep. So if you want to ask Julian for some vibranium, go on ahead and approach him with some macadamia nut cookies made out of oatmeal. If that recipe sells, I'm coming for that income stream, baby.
I would actually be amazed if somebody does that.
It's like, you heard it here first, the Going North podcast, baby. It's like, yep, we need a cut of that. Need a whole cut of that like a diamond, baby.
Oh, man.
Well, alrighty. So, including the Art of Fitness and Life, any other places you want folks to follow you and keep up with what you're doing?
I think maybe Instagram. I think I'm going to start using Instagram. I don't really use social media. I guess I took the whole Black Panther thing to heart, where he's very quiet and off on his own. So I think I'm going to try to use Instagram a little bit and share some stuff over there. So Instagram will be a cool platform in addition to my website, and I'll be doing some stuff over there once I learn how to use it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Go on ahead and slide into Julian's DMs for that fitness gems, baby. That's right. You want that knowledge, baby. If you want that millennial magic, baby, that'll transform your life, go on ahead and head over to his wonderful website. We're going to put all that in the random show notes so it can show off the goods. So, any other parting words for the folks still listening, man?
It's early in the year, and I'm sure we have all of these goals and ambitions where our motivation meter is probably on a full tank right now. And to take advantage of that, I really would encourage you to write out a vision of who you most want to be. And I know we hear that a lot, but this is very important, and it's something I read every day just to remind myself of who I'm going to be. And secondly, to go along with that, I want you to write out your anti-vision of the person who you don't want to be, the person who you despise the most. You can even think of some people and think of some qualities that they have that makes you repel them the most, and write that person out. And then come February the 26th, when the motivation meter may be lacking and life is back to the routine, read the vision and the anti-vision, and I guarantee you that's going to get you moving in the right direction.
Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation.